Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Scrap Mechanic Survival Drilling Thunder with yours truly, Corvoth here. Yeah, what we've got, well, I think we've got some problems. Biggest thing I've noticed right now with the game is that it seems, not 100% sure yet, that cotton is now a net negative on the seed returns. I just harvested a whole field of cotton, and I only got enough to plant just a little less than half of the field back. I'm kind of hoping that was just a glitch, but I'm thinking they might have changed that in this last update as well. Maybe I got to recheck the patch notes. Maybe that was intentional. I don't know. Um, but they did change something back that I am really happy for, and which means we're getting ready to redo the suspension on here. So we'll get a little bit of a tutorial on the suspension. And I might have figured out something for the other type of the suspension with the bearings on it. We'll go through that and see if I can make that work. And that will be our video for the day. Oh, yeah. Remember the vehicle that we stole on the last time? The jalopy we jacked? Well, there's the front. There's the back. We have stretched it into a collecting, mulching monster of a machine. I've taken it for one little test run. It does work. It works very well. The steering, it leaves a little bit to be desired with it being top heavy, but it does work. Right now I've got it all welded up, so it's a little higher. The suspension is a little softer than this, but not by much. I've got those suspensions maxed out on the strength for the level 2, so it holds its weight. But yeah, there's that. We might even take that thing out for a spin later, just so you can see it in action. But when good old fashioned here, let's see if we got some clothing boxes to open up. We do indeed. Let's start with a greenie. Make. Hello. Hello. What's going on here? Okay, it ain't me. Make. Make that one. Something's wrong with that box, I reckon. I don't know. I guess we're starting with a purple. And we get a top hat. Alright, let's try this now. It just ain't gonna make that one. It ain't gonna make that one. Doesn't mean I got all the green. And I don't have enough to unlock that one. I don't believe I've got any more hiding in here. Yep, so we're gonna have to wait on that. I guess that means I've got all the green suits and there's nothing left but purples and golds for me now. Yay, I reckon. Alright, well, let's get on to it. Okay, so the change that they made is the little pass-through glitch that we did with the bearings back in the day are now a thing again. Are you seriously going to do that? I guess you are. Push you down. So we're going to take this apart. Take that, that, and that. All right. So we're only going to run through this on the front because the back is pretty much the same without steering unless you want four-wheel steering, which means it will be exactly the same. That said, okay, you can see. Oh, no, you can't see. You act right. There we go. As you can see, the bottom of the suspension is set pretty much even with the bottom of my chassis. Build the chassis how you want. I recommend putting your little section thing down, put your seat, put your fuel tank on the front, put your gas tank on the back. I mean, not your gas tank, your engine on the back there, and your fuel tank up front. Fuel tank front, engine back, then build up to where you can set your suspension, whichever one you're using, to where the bottom of the suspension is even with your chassis here. You can do it where you got it one lower, but that means that your actual axle, that means where you're turning is going to be one lower. So yeah, depending on the ride height that you want, I like my chassis to be the first thing that hits the ground, not my axle or any part of my steering or anything like that, if there's something there. So this is the way that I like to do it. Then you're going to get you some of these little bolts here. You get these out of the little jacks, that are randomly placed around your map. Put your lift back down where you're looking straight at it. Get you a curved piece here. Look right there. Put your curved piece in there. It's almost some pixel perfect sometimes. It seems to be a little easier now than since they've done the change, but yeah, so you just fight with it and you'll get it. You're going to put a bearing on each one of those. And you're going to get you a T-pipe piece. Put your T-pipe pieces on there like so. Now, depending on how far or how close you've got these things, you can use either a 4 long bar or several small 1x pipe pieces to put in between there. The closer your suspension is, the softer it's going to be. So if you've got them right side by side, I would not recommend that. It's going to be really stupid soft, and you're going to have so much body roll, it's going to be uncontrollable. At 4 wide, then it's going to be about a medium, and then I'm at 6 wide, so I've got a little bit stiffer suspension for the setup that I've got. Then you put your crossbar in there, weld that up. Don't forget the weld step. Welding is very important. You know what? I forgot a step. I need to get another tool here. Got it in here somewhere. Yeah, paint tool. Paint. Very important step is to paint your bearings in construction. Oh, I didn't get the paint. Apparently my inventory was full and it didn't want to give me my paint. So there we go. I was trying to figure out why that wasn't working. So as I was saying, paint your bearings in construction, because sometimes you can't do it afterwards. So let's back that up. And let's say that we've done that. We've got your suspension, we got your elbow, with your bolts on the bottom, your elbows up the top. Put your bearings on there. Paint your bearings. All right, now that we're caught up. Put your T-pieces on there. And then your bar, crossbar. Like I said, I just happen to be 4 in between, 6 wide on my suspension, so I can put a solid 4-piece in the middle. If you're 4 wide on your suspension, that's only going to give you 2 in the middle, so you need 2 short pieces. And if you're going odd width, that means 3 or 6. You'll have to use short pieces, or 1 long piece and 2 shorts, depending on how wide you're making your vehicle. Important part is to weld those together. And we're going to put us an elbow down. Since this is steering, I'll put another bearing on those. And then paint your bearings. Raise that up a little bit. And then we'll put our elbow to the out. And we'll put our wheel bearings on there. And then paint the bearings. I don't know if it's true anymore, but used to you would lose the paint on your wheels if you pick them up, which is why I am going to just, I didn't put them in my inventory to begin with, and I'm just going to weld them back in place because I don't want to repaint them and waste paint. And there you have the suspension that I like the most, a little codependent. I mean, because, you know, one tire can move without the other one. But, yeah, they're linked together. It's good off-road suspension. I like them a lot. Good for rock crawling, off-roading, you know, get plenty of flex. But another plus is that once you start putting weight on it and you start making a turn, the outside wheel doesn't start folding in and doing all kinds of bearing flopping things because it's supported by the other side. Now, I'm going to go around and do the other side and get that done, and then I'm going to show you a different setup with the suspension with bearing, and we'll see you here in a moment when I get done. Okay, yeah, apparently something else has changed with the patch. You cannot weld your wheels back to a bearing. I just found that out, so let's hope. We'll put this seat down for a minute. Let's hope they keep the paint. If not, that's going to be a lot of wasted paint. Yeah, you lose the paint. So, yeah, can't weld your wheels back to bearings anymore. That sucks. So I got it all done, hooked my daggone engine back up to my wheel bearings and couldn't move. So yay, there we go. Something else is definitely wrong here. Okay, there we go. It was just... Okay, they might have gave us the ability back, but something ain't right. Because that shouldn't be leaning like that. It's almost like I've got steering hooked up into them or something. Let's make sure I ain't doing nothing stupid. No. They're free floating. Everything's hooked up the way it's supposed to, but it's just acting weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind the fact that if it's going to lean into a turn like that, but I'm just puzzled as to why it's doing it and why it's so soft now as opposed to the way it was. Because it is definitely doing that now, and it did not before. So unfortunately, I might actually be putting this thing back the way it was. Because there's something wrong with the pass-through. Because it should not be doing this. All right, so folks, don't use this for now. Let's wait until they actually fix this, because this is going to cause all kinds of instabilities. I'm pretty sure it's causing a glitch right now. Yeah, that's causing a glitch. It ain't bad. Yeah, I don't like it. So I will be fixing that back up. Which I'm wondering if it's even worth trying the other setup now. But we're going to anyway. Gotta do it for science, right? Okay, so what we would be working with is if we had our vehicle built. I don't know why I did that, but oh well. I don't need a toilet right now anyway. And we did this here. Got our piece on there. Let's see. This one's a little more difficult. Seen it. Okay. Yeah, we got steering bearings already. But I'm kind of curious. If I put the seat down and hook up to the bearings. I didn't really want to do that. So let's just turn those back down. Thank you very much. Then I should just be able to have my steering bearing there. Now what I'm going to want here is another bearing here and here. Here and here. Here and here. Elbow in there. Elbow there. Okay. Oh yeah, you twat. Can't weld if you're not sitting on a lift. So we'll weld that up. And then we'll weld this back to that over here. Well, let's make that a little taller before we try to weld that up. Wrong tool. Weld that to that. I seem to have forgotten something. Oh yeah, I wasn't going to do that. So pull that back out. Pull that back out. That wasn't what it was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be the cap on there. It's supposed to just be our normal little turnout for our wheels. Yeah, yeah. means all this was wrong. Hang on a second. So we have a pipe piece there, and let's see if I can get, yep, I've seen it. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. So that should be our little steering, and this should be hooked up to that, so it'll automatically turn with us. And then we'll go here and here. This is what I was looking for. And then I get to break that loose, put it on a lift so we can weld that. And weld that back up here. Like so. I don't care about wheel bearings right now because we're not trying to roll anything. This would ideally be better with big tires, but yeah, that's what we're looking for there. And there. So you'd have you a control arm, sway arm, whatever the heck you want to call that thing that can actually turn with, which arguably would be better than what I've got down there on that one. Because your suspension would be wider, your control arm would be in with it. Yeah, and it would pull up on the outer suspension to, yeah, that would actually work. This would arguably be better. Now, I would recommend a small change in having this come in, then in, down, in, then down. But I think it would still work here. You could also turn this to where it goes up, but I think you'd have less stability with it. I'm not 100% sure. This was just a thought that I had, and I figured I would find out if it would even be possible. It looks like it is. So there's that part. And we're going to leave that here for now, because the other thing that I promised that we'd go do is take this little thing here for a ride. Let you see how effective this thing is. Which means we got to find something to chop, grind, and I'm pretty sure there's some over here on the other side of the hills somewhere. The only problem with this thing is with the drills, the way everything's set up, I think I've got a collision issue causing me to lose a few frames. But we're going to get this thing over here, turn her on. And when I get the electric motors, this is going to be so much nicer. Aha, I got a roll bar now, buddy. I got a crash cage. The drilling path is as wide as a vehicle almost. And if you wanted to start from the top, just push the button, come back over here, push the button again, and you start grinding from the top down. until I can get electric motors and double bearings to be able to control exactly where this thing is sitting at, I think this is about the best we can do. Works pretty good in my own humble opinion. And it's heavy enough that you're not getting just pummeled across the map when that thing pops out the ground like that. Like I said, once I get electric motors, probably put a double axle in the front, because that's where all the weight's at. Really, bro? And I should be able to take this whole big giant node out without having to go back and empty the collectors. Say, what am I doing? Grinding on rods or something? Oh, hello. That might be a problem. I don't think I can lift that out of the way. Let's try something here. There we go. That worked out pretty well. Still got one just cling on there. Alright, there we go. Got him loose. That was almost a problem. Get this finished, cleaned up, take it back to the camp, get it started to unload. See, changing directions and holding position is where electric engines are going to come in clutch. The electric's so much better for work vehicles like this. I wouldn't use it for regular driving, but for work vehicles, I very much prefer electric. Now, the reason I'm making it so big is that refineries are so slow that I would be sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting for it to clean out the collectors so that I can continue to mine. And as you've seen, I have done that whole thing and I've still got room. I could go get a tree. And let's go ahead and do that, because I'm probably going to need some of that anyway. That would be opening that up, flip the control head, and turn it on. Now the drills are back. The saw blades are forward. And then we can just run into the tree and run over it, and should be able to collect all the wood with no problem. We left a couple of scragglers down here. No worries. We'll go ahead and get this other little tree, happy little tree right here. Turn it into a toothpick. And if you happen to get to something that's too high, I can flip the little button there and put the saw blades actually in contact with the ground. This is the best I could do without being able to absolutely control my bearing positions. Looks like we got one more back here. We'll just run over that one more time. Thank you very much. And that looks like everything. We just get this collected. Put everything up. And take it back to camp. That's how this works, folks. Like I said, we did jack that little jalopy, got it all nice and dressed out. I think it looks like a perfectly acceptable scrap collector vehicle. But I am thinking that having them stowed up there and actually touching the rest of the vehicle might be causing a little bit of frame issues. Could just be the vehicle itself. You see, we'll just coming back her in. They're positioned at the middle there when I don't bounce off. And they can pull from all three collectors. On each side, that is. And eventually I'll have these lifted up on a platform and a chest each with a pipe running over. I don't think I'm going to have it connected over to my system, but I'm going to have them connected over to another couple of chests off to the side so I can just come over here and collect the stuff and run it over. And well, that is how it goes for the day. I'll rebuild this and fix it up, put it back the way it was. Yeah, hopefully they'll fix that little glitch, but until then, folks, we'll see you next time. Don't forget to give it a like if you appreciated this video as much as I appreciate your views. And we'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye.